today. They have won 6 games this season by 1-0. That would be the ideal scoreline, I'm sure, for them again today. But will United make it a different affair to last season's hugely frustrating, goalless encounter for them? We'll find out soon enough and get the team news from the rest of the 3 o'clock games when we come back. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered.
Gets away from another, comes it into the top corner. It is a moment of Merseyside magic from Mo Salah. He's done it again. His 19th of the season.
TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live.
With the Defoe in the penalty area. Dips one. Oh, that is a magnificent goal from Jermaine Defoe. Absolutely stunning from Jermaine Defoe.
Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Lanzini back to Arnautovic. He's inside the box. There is his first goal for West Ham. Arnautovic took it beautifully. He curled it low past Courtois.
Hear goals as they go in from around the grounds during our featured commentary match.
Rolls it into the feet. Little layup. Arfield can get past back 5 minutes. 1-0. Arfield opens the scoring in the 45th minute. Burnley's strike against the 10-man of Watford.
Every game is covered.
Boy lifts it in left-footed. It's a deep cross. It's headed on by Mounier. And it's 2 for Mounier. Well, like London buses, the goals are now pouring in for Steve Mounier.
Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Here's Gale. Good shot, goal! Dwight Gale's put Newcastle level. Crisp low shot from the edge of the penalty area. Low pass, Schmeichel in a flag.
This is Premier League Live.
Crosses to Olivier Giroud. Equaliser for Arsenal, and as so often, Olivier Giroud off the bench to rescue Arsene Wenger.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game involves the 2 things in life you love the most.
Football and money.
Exactly predict 10 or more Premier League scores and win £1 million sterling.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game.
Register now at TalkSport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season. Win £1 million sterling.
£1 million.
Players must be 18 or over. See TalkSport.com/predictor for full conditions.
So, festive greetings from Premier League Live. It's Man United Burnley, our featured game in 20 minutes from now. The United 4 changes. Rocco, Shaw, Rashford and Ibrahimovic all start. Burnley 1 change. Barnes comes in for Wood, who is absent today. There are 6 games that kick off at 3 o'clock today. Bournemouth, West Ham, Chelsea, Brighton, Huddersfield, Stoke, Watford, Leicester and West Brom, Everton are the others. So before we get to the team news from those matches, let's hear from some of the managers involved in those contests.
I think it's made a big difference to them. Yeah, I think they've got a talented squad. They've got a lot of experienced players, and they've united together and put on some really good performances and managed to get some big results.
We've now missed one at Everton, we've now missed one here. I think in our position it's hard enough to get the opportunities or get given the chances. We can't be missing them.
Our task is to try to give the best satisfaction for our fans. For sure we will put all ourselves. I can promise only this.
What we have been able to do, apart from probably the Liverpool game, is at least be in the game in the big games. You know that you are going to give away a huge bulk of possession. it is what it is. But these are the challenges that everybody's looking forward to.
I am and we are used to this very busy Christmas period, so all about to give them the right information, the right idea in their head.
Sean and Peter Coates have been absolutely fantastic this week. Really supported everything, been into the club, reassuring everybody, saying it's business as usual. They base their business model on picking the right people and allowing them to do their jobs, and they've always done that.
When you look, you see a lot of difference. What they spend, the budget they have. When they prepare the season, I think they prepare the season to fight for maybe the 7-8 positions sure in the table, because they have this budget, and then I think is this goal.
Don't put my team in place with the price of the player. We have 1 or 2 places on the team, and we have 6 possibilities. I understand it's difficult for some player to find a good game time.
I don't want to call them an honest, great group of players, because I think that's been said enough times. I think there's more quality in that dressing room, and I need to get it out onto the pitch. More technical quality, more exuberance in their play.
This is a bit of practice, a bit of analysis of showing how to organise your side when you're out of possession, what dangers the opposition can bring to you and how you cope with that. And I think that they've taken that on board exceptionally well.
So we heard there from Messrs Howe, Moyes, Conte, Houghton, Wagner, Hughes, Silva, Puel, Pardew and Allardyce. Let's see which teams they have selected today. Bournemouth, West Ham we'll start with. Big game at the wrong end of the table, and Andrew Self will be watching this one.
Team news from the Vitality Stadium, home of Bournemouth, is that Eddie Howe has made 3 changes to the side that lost 4-0 away at runaway leaders Manchester City. The Cherries haven't won in the league since November and sit 1 point above the relegation zone. Out goes Simpson, Sermon and Stanislas, the last 2 injured. In come Francis, Cook and King. West Ham's recent upturn in fortunes took a jolt when they lost 3-2 at home to Newcastle, so manager David Moyes has shuffled his pack. Out goes Reid, who drops to the bench, and Antonio. In come veterans James Collins and Manuel Lanzini. Bournemouth know they have to win today to arrest their recent slump, but will a point here represent a good day at the office for the Hammers? Join me to see what unfolds between Bournemouth and West Ham United.
Yep, interesting game. Bournemouth 18th, West Ham just 1 place above. A large gap between Chelsea and Brighton. What's the teams here? Barry Swain watching this one.
Chelsea and Brighton and Hove Albion meet for the very first time in the top flight. Chelsea 4 unbeaten, make 3 changes from Saturday lunchtime's goalless encounter at Everton. Gary Cahill, Alvaro Morata and Cesc Fabregas all come in. Willian, Pedro and Christiansen all drop to the bench. 4 changes for Brighton and Hove Albion. Anthony Knockaert, Bruno and Pascal Gross are all benched. Shane Duffy, Jose Izquierdo, Izzy Shalotto and Beram Kale all start. At Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea against Brighton and Hove Albion.
Some of my fantasy football teams' biggest stars are being dropped already at this time of year. I can sense what's going to happen. Huddersfield against Stoke next. Here comes Tom Rennie.
Huddersfield Town picked up a really good draw at Southampton last time out, while Stoke picked up a really important victory against fellow strugglers West Bromwich Albion a few short days ago. Headline team news for Huddersfield: they make 4 changes from that game. No place in the starting lineup though for Laurent Depoitre, who scored a superb header in that match. He remains on the bench. 4 changes across the 11 for David Wagner. For Mark Hughes, it's an unchanged side from the one that beat West Bromwich Albion, which means Peter Crouch continues up front and Kevin Wimmer continues as emergency or auxiliary left back, with no one else able to fill that role. Really important game for both of these at the John Smiths. It's Huddersfield against Stoke.
Now, 2 teams in the top half of the Premier League table, but in the case of Watford, only just. They take on Leicester, and Toby Gillies is watching this one.
Watford in relegation form make 3 changes from defeat at Brighton a few days ago. 2 of them are returning from suspension, Marvin Zegala and their top midfield scorer Abdoulaye Doucouré, while Mola Wagwe comes in at centre-half for his first ever Premier League start. Andre Gray is one of those missing out, which means they start with no recognised striker. The others onto the bench, Prödl and Holebas. Leicester drew 2-2 late on against Manchester United last time out, but 4 changes Claude Puel has made from that. It looks like 3 at the back, with problems at right back with Danny Simpson out. Alexander Dragovic gets a first Premier League appearance. Ben Chilwell, Andy King and Shinji Okazaki come in, with Damari Gray and Christian Fuchs on the bench. Simpson and Vicente Iborra drop out entirely.
Yeah, fascinating game at Watford today as they take on the Foxes. Last but not least of the 3 o'clock games to the Hawthorns. West Brom haven't won for longer than anybody in the Premier League. Will that change today against Everton? Michael McCann is watching.
At the Hawthorns, it's the Battle of the Brits, Pardew versus Allardyce. Both managers make 3 changes to their teams. For West Brom, Rodriguez, Phillips and Dawson come in for McLean, Robson, Kanu and Nyom. Meanwhile, for Everton, Balassi makes his first start in over a year, whilst Holgate and Williams also come in, with Garnegate, Jagielka and Lennon dropping out. Top goal scorer Wayne Rooney is out with illness again. West Brom are winless in their last 17 Premier League games.
OK, those are the games then at 3 o'clock today. They are all available for you live and in full via broadcast partners, but when the goals go in, we shall bring them to you during our featured game, which is Manchester United against Burnley today. So 6 3 o'clock games in all. Liverpool against Swansea is a 5:30 game. Tomorrow night, it's Newcastle against Manchester City. That's a 7:45. And then on Thursday the 28th, it's Crystal Palace against Arsenal to complete this particular game week. That kicks off at 8 p.m. And if you weren't with us a little earlier on, Tottenham Hotspur thrashed Southampton at Wembley by 5 goals to 2, with Harry Kane scoring his 8th hat-trick of 2017. He's got more in the top leagues in Europe in this calendar year for club and country than anybody, and that includes Messi and Ronaldo. It's a phenomenal scoring year for Harry Kane, who's broken Alan Shearer's Premier League goal-scoring record in a calendar year. Right, our attention then back to Manchester United against Burnley. Let's hear from both the managers involved, Jose Mourinho and Sean Dyche.
I think we were punished by lack of maturity, because I cannot stop the game and to give a team talk for the last 2 minutes. The players inside, they have immediately to adapt and to read the game, which they didn't. So we had childish decisions in front of goal. Bad decisions, because it was not just about the goals we missed. It was not about the dribbling and hit the bar or the post in this case. It was not just about missing chances with an open goal. It was also about decisions, easy decisions to make in easy transitions to counter-attack. Some players, they have childish decisions, and time helps them to have maturity and to decide better. But some other players, they stay with childish decisions until the end of their career.
It's hard enough at the moment for referees. I've spoken about the idea of these people falling over all over the pitch. I've made myself clear. I think that was a tough one today, because yes, there's contact, but there's contact after he's already going down. But you get them. We haven't got many of them, but you do get them. So that's the way it goes.
Families are coming. People love it, even around the world. Families at home, they love football. So I feel that we are giving something that people love, so that the positive side of it is that good feeling. We did a simple objective study on that. Is a big gap, is really a big gap between some clubs and other clubs.
They find different ways of winning. You know, that's my personal belief in football. You know, it's not just one way. They find all different ways, and I think he's got a clear mindedness and a bloody mindedness to it. You've got to admire that, or as a manager you do.
Yeah, that is Jose Mourinho. No surprise that he admires, or Sean Dyche admires what Jose Mourinho has done at Manchester United and elsewhere. Dyche is a realist, but he is squeezing Paul Mortimer the very best out of his group of players.
Well, that is the art of management, as far as I'm concerned. When everything's going well, I think, me and you could manage. But what he's got is he's got this group of players.